Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are very excited to be able to bring you this visit virtually today. My name is Nick Refuge. I am an Associate Director in the Office of Admissions and Financial Aid, and it is my pleasure today to get to moderate our panel on student life. We have three fantastic students with us today, and you're going to meet them in just a moment, and they will tell you all about their different experiences. But of course, the main point of today is to make sure all of your questions are answered. So please make sure if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the YouTube chat. You can talk with us via Visit Days text messaging, and we will absolutely make sure that we get all of your questions answered today. So without further ado, we are going to meet our students. And first up, I would like to introduce Sarah.
All right, hi everyone. I was gonna say good morning, but it's not really morning anymore, so good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well, especially during these times. So my name is Sarah, as Nick said. I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Pittsburgh. I'm from outside Boston. I'm a finance major getting a certificate in international business, a certificate in leadership and ethics, and a minor in German. Besides being involved in Pitt Pathfinders, which is the tour guide organization on campus, I'm also a part of a social sorority called Alpha Delta Pi, and I'm a member of a business school club called Enactus, which is a club about entrepreneurship and that completes consulting projects. Yeah, that's me.
Hi everyone, I'm Shira. I'm a junior civil engineer at Pitt. I'm originally from Bethesda, Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. Some organizations that I'm a part of, in addition to the Pitt Pathfinders, I'm in Society of Women Engineers. It's a service and outreach club where we host elementary school kids and high school kids. At our school, we put on activities for them to get them interested in pursuing STEM careers. I'm also in American Society of Civil Engineers, which is similar but more geared towards civil engineering. And I'm in an engineering sorority called Phi Sigma Rho. And additionally, I am a co-op student, so I work full-time, switching off semesters between school and work. I work for a general contractor in Washington, D.C., and I've also did a short-term study abroad program in Jamaica about engineering sustainability.
Hey everyone, so my name is Lindsay. I'm a senior. I study politics and philosophy with a minor in economics and studio arts and a global certificate. In addition to Pathfinders, which as Sarah had said, the tour guides on campus, I am also in a professional fraternity, Phi Sigma Pi, and I am also in Judo Club. So I do stuff along those lines, and I have also had the opportunity to study abroad and do an internship abroad.
All right, well, now that you have met all of our students that will be taking your questions today, we are going to ask our first question to hear a little bit more from each. And the first one we're going to start with is, how does someone even get involved on campus? What are some of the different programs that Pitt has to offer? And we're going to hear from each of our students now a little bit more about how they specifically got involved with all their different activities. And once again, we're going to start with Sarah.
So getting involved on Pitt's campus, I think, is fairly easily. So for my activities, Pathfinders I found at the Student Activities Fair. They host that in the fall during orientation week at the Peterson Event Center, and all of the student activities on campus come together and you can sign up for as many activities as you want. I know I signed up for like 30 clubs, and obviously I'm only a part of 3. Also, the business school has clubs tabling in Senate Square, which is home to the business school. So you'll walk in for your class and you may be able to find a club, and that's how I found Enactus. So it's really easy to get involved. The business school also just hosts a fair just for activities that they have in the fall. So you can go and sign up for which clubs you want, whether you want to join a business fraternity or something focused for your major in the business school. So yeah, that's how I got involved.
For me, I similarly to Sarah, I also went to the Student Activities Fair. At the beginning of every academic year, we have the Activities Fair at the Peterson Event Center, which has all of our 600 plus student organizations that set up tables, and you can find out all about what the clubs do. Additionally, with like major specific schools, I know that Swanson has their own like activities fair, and the civil engineering department in particular has their own activities fair, just to find out more about how you can get involved with your major specific activities. Additionally, just being like in Swanson, we have like our own like career office there, as well as like our own study abroad office. So different opportunities come from there. Just by visiting the Orange Desk in Benedum, like I found out a lot about different activities that I'm involved in now.
So I did it a little bit differently, just because I transferred in the spring and I was really nervous and I didn't really understand what was going on. So I actually just kind of went and talked to a lot of my friends who are doing things, and they kind of guided me. And I also really leaned on my RA a lot because we had really similar interests. So that was kind of how I started out looking at clubs. And then I did end up going to the activities fair when I kind of had an idea of things that I wanted to do. But I kind of wanted to see exactly what people were doing, the things that I was really interested in. So I like had a better idea of like mapping out what going through the whole activities fair. And then just being in clubs, they kind of led me to other things to do. I'm in Judo Club, as I mentioned, and that actually was because I took a judo class, which was a Pitt class. And then they had introduced me to another club, and they were like, yeah, like if you want to train some more, you can come. And so that was kind of how I ended up in like a lot of the different clubs I was in.
All right, great. Well, now that we know a little bit about how they found each of their organizations and got involved on campus, we're going to dive in now and answer some of those questions that you all are putting in the YouTube chat, which we thank you again for doing. So next up, we got a great question that's about, when you are studying at Pitt, and we've heard all about these fantastic academic options. I know a lot of you today are joining us with specific interests in maybe either our School of Engineering or our College of Business and our Business Administration. So many different great things that we have on campus. Is it possible to be a part of more than one academic school at a time? And how does someone go about that? We're going to hear from Sarah again about how that works and how it looks like on campus.
Yeah, so as a business student, you do have the ability to, whether it's a minor, a certificate, or a major, specifically in the District School of Arts and Sciences. So for me, I knew that I really wanted to take a language, so I decided to minor in German. So I take classes for German. I also know people in the business school who minor in economics, computer science, etc. So you definitely have the opportunity to do majors, minors, and certificates across schools.
Awesome. And yeah, and one of the biggest things about being involved in that academic process is, of course, your academic advisor, who's there to help you out with every step in the process, whether it be helping you get involved in another academic area, maybe across a different school, and just making sure that all of our students know about those resources and know what's available to them on campus. One of the questions we got in the chat was a little bit more specific, talking about engineering and the Women's Society of Engineering. We're going to go to Shira now to hear a little bit more about that.
So the Society of Women Engineers was actually the first club that I joined at Pitt. Being a female in engineering, I really wanted a good support network of other females that have gone through the freshman engineering program. I just wanted some advice on how to get through some of these classes. So in the club right away, I joined the Mentorship Program. So I was paired up with an upperclassman in the same field of engineering that I was interested in. So I was paired up with another civil engineer. So I was able to ask her questions about different professors, why she chose civil engineering, what you do as a civil engineer, and like learned more about her co-op experience, which it made me want to co-op as well. And also in the club, we do a lot of fun social events just to get to know each other. There's always a tie-dyeing event at the beginning of the year, which I've always looked forward to. Additionally, we always go to Sorgel Orchard, which is an orchard nearby campus. So we go there for our fall event. And we also have a bunch of outreach events during the year for elementary school kids, middle school, high school, as well as Girl Scouts. So that's a really fun event where we have a bunch of kids come to the engineering school. We put on events for them, and there's student panels that talk to the parents. And overall, it's just a fun day to get kids more interested in STEM.
Great, thank you. So we also got a specific question talking about transferring between different schools, and it was related to, let's say you're a student who's been offered admission to our Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences, but now you're maybe interested in transferring into our College of Business Administration. So the question is about how does someone accomplish that transition? And actually, as a part of the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences, you can take the necessary prerequisite courses, which are all outlined already on their website as far as the necessary math classes that you need, macro and microeconomics and things like that. And then once you've satisfied those prerequisites, you're eligible to transfer into that College of Business Administration for your second year on campus. And once again, going back to what I said about your academic advisor, they are the ones who are going to help you and guide you through all of that process. One of my absolute favorite things that students can get involved in on campus is study abroad. I think it is truly one of the most amazing things you can do as an undergraduate. And we're going to hear a little bit now from Lindsay about her own experiences and, of course, about how someone can get involved in study abroad on campus.
Yeah, so when I came to college, my one big focus was going study abroad. And I didn't really know how I was going to do that because I transferred in and I was like, oh, there's not going to be time for it. But I think one of the really great things that Pitt does is really make sure that students who want to go abroad can go abroad. They give you a lot of different options, a lot of different programs. I know for like specifically engineering and business, they have programs at the end of your freshman year that you can go on. But there's also programs like throughout your time. So I went last summer to Shanghai, and I actually did an internship there and took classes. It was 9 credits in total over an 8-week period, which felt like a lot at first, but then once you're kind of just in it and doing it, it was really fun. But how I kind of found a lot of the programs was at first I just went on the website of study abroad, and you can kind of pick and choose like, oh, I'm really interested in this like program, or oh, I'm really interested in going to this country and I'm trying to study this, and put it in. But I went to the office as well, and they were really helpful in trying to get me connected to the counselors that I needed to get connected to. And even just talking to my advisors in my academic field, they were very much like, oh, if you want this program, you need this kind of class that can cover it, to make sure that like my time abroad wasn't just like me kind of taking like random classes that really didn't have anything to do with like what I was interested in, but like that it would actually be an experience of like academic and cultural experience.
Great. Thank you, Lindsay. So we've got a couple questions now that's just really talking about how does someone adjust on campus to all the different things, being away from home for the first time, having access to all these different things outside of just academics. So we're going to talk a little bit now about managing stress, about what it's like adjusting to city life and different things like that. We're going to start with how does someone manage their stress, of course, with Sarah.
So managing stress, obviously at first college is going to seem a little bit stressful. You're somewhere where you may not have been before. I totally understand that you can feel a little bit of stress, but there are so many different ways to manage stress as a student on campus, especially coming in as a first year student. So for me, I had a Google Calendar where I had all my classes and activities I was doing. So I think the first thing to do to manage stress is to stay organized, because it can feel like you can have control of what you're doing. Definitely take time, at least one night a week, to just do something fun with your friends. There's so much to do in the entire city of Pittsburgh. There's so much culture that having one night away just from school and the craziness of it will definitely help you. College can be stressful at times, but definitely lean on your friends, lean on the resources that Pitt has, and just know it's going to be an adjustment, but you're 100% going to be able to get through it.
And she is absolutely right. And we're going to talk now a little bit about what it's like adjusting specifically to being in Pittsburgh from all the different places that we are coming from. And we're going to hear a little bit more about that from Shira.
So coming to Pittsburgh for me was a really exciting experience. I'm from a suburb of Washington, D.C. So in the suburbs, it's a little quieter, but I have quick access to Washington, D.C. by the subway or by the metro. So it's similar in Pittsburgh, where Oakland exists in more of like a suburban neighborhood, and we have quick access to downtown using the Port Authority buses, which is just an easy 10-minute bus ride away. And the best part is we get on for free using our student IDs. So even though Pittsburgh is a city, it's a smaller city, so it doesn't feel as stressful as a city like New York City. And especially around campus, there's a lot of green space, so it doesn't feel like you're in the middle of a city with all like the hustle and bustle, but we are close to all these fantastic resources that a city provides, such as the arts culture. There's a bunch of theaters downtown, as well as a lot of museums that students can go to for free using their Pitt IDs. We're also an easy access away from different neighborhoods of Pittsburgh, whether that's Squirrel Hill or Shady Side, where you can do additional shopping or go out to eat with friends. And we also have Schenley Park nearby. So even though we are in a city, we have access to green space and just being outdoors and enjoying nature. Schenley Park is 456 acres of open green space, and it provides a lot of great opportunities to just decompress and have fun with your friends by either going on walks. There's a lot of hiking trails, biking trails. There's even a golf course at Schenley Park, and just a lot of trails throughout the city where you can go grab your bike and just bike around, or even just play pickup games with your friends out on the different fields at Schenley, whether that's just throwing the baseball around, throwing the frisbee. So that's all stuff I've enjoyed here. And just having the city around me is one of my favorite parts of Pitt, because we have both the feel of a city and a suburb. So I like saying that Pitt is the best of both worlds.
I absolutely agree. I definitely think that Pitt is the absolute best of both worlds. We've gotten some great questions now about what it's like living on campus, what it's like eating on campus, and of course, all about athletics. So how does someone get tickets to our different sporting events? So we're actually going to hear from Lindsay now in just a moment, all about those different things that make the student experience. And we're going to hear a little bit about what it's like living in a living learning community, what the food is like on campus, and of course, getting to those basketball and football games and all those other great things.
Yeah, so for in terms of getting like sports tickets, it's actually very easy. So when I first came into college, I didn't expect myself to really be a huge sports person, but the whole atmosphere of going to a Pitt game is just so much fun that I couldn't help myself. So it's really nice because you can get season tickets for $25. It's really easy too because they'll set themselves up at the activities fair if you wanted to go to one of their tables, or you can go up to the Peterson Event Center and they have a ticket office, but you can also just do it on your phone really quickly. They have a website for Pitt tickets. That's the same place that you can also get your basketball tickets. So you kind of have two options with that. If it's one of like a not as popular games, it's really easy to just order them on your phone. For the other games that are like more popular, they do have a lottery system. So as many games as you've gone to, you kind of accumulate points of like loyalty points, and then you can go and get like a chance to go into like the little bit more like competitive games and the ones that like a lot of people will come and try to go to, which is definitely really nice. It's also super easy to get to everywhere because we have transportation that's on campus that'll take you to like Heinz Field for the football games, but then also just going up to the Peterson Event Center, it's a really easy walk. I personally lived in Tower B my freshman year, so it was really easy for me to get around. And I loved living on campus just because the whole atmosphere was really nice. And personally, I lived in a living learning community, which you call like an LLC, which basically groups students by specific interest. So you can do it by your major or just by general interest. So the major ones are engineering, business, and nursing. But then you also have general interest. And so I was in the general interest. Though some of them are like arts appreciation, leadership to others, service to others. And I was personally in the Global Village one, which I thought was perfect for me because obviously I'm getting like a global certificate. So I was very interested in global affairs. And it was nice because it meant that everyone on my floor was also interested in global affairs. So we had people who were not in close to the same majors. So some of my best friends became people in the business school and in like engineering and in just like different fields within Dietrich. So we had some bio majors, we had anthropology majors all together in one place. And it was just really interesting because you could kind of get like different perspectives on the same topic just based on like what they were interested in and what their major was. And it also meant that a lot more people would come to the activities because they were like specifically towards the exact interest that they had. So one of the really cool activities we got to do was our RA found out that one of the professors at Pitt actually had like trained in the art of Japanese tea ceremonies for like years. And so she had her come in and like teach us about Japanese tea ceremonies and how they like worked and the whole tradition behind them. And then we actually got to perform one variation ourselves. And we had basically the whole floor there all together. And it was just really nice because I got to see everyone at once and then also learn about something that I had just never even really considered learning about. And then I got super interested in it. So there's just a lot of different things that you can do. And especially like living on campus, it's really easy to get around because especially like if you're like kind of centralized and all your friends are together and food is on like Forbes Avenue. So you can kind of go to restaurants and things together, or just hang out in your residence halls and like the lounges. My friends and I really liked watching HGTV in the lounge. We always had it on whenever we did homework. So there's a lot of things you can do.
Great, thank you. I know we have a lot of students here, of course, interested in business and engineering, and you may be interested in one of their LLCs. So we're going to hear a little bit more about their specifics. And we're going to start with engineering, hearing a little bit about it from Shira.
So I did not live in Forbes myself as a freshman, but about 90% of my engineering friends did. So I know a lot about Forbes Hall and the living learning community that was there. So a big benefit to living in Forbes Hall as a freshman is that the freshman curriculum is designed so you're taking all the same classes as all the other freshmen in calculus, chemistry, physics. You take a computer science class, so everyone's in the same boat taking the same classes. So just having all these other students around you in the same courses makes it really easy to get homework help, form study groups, and just meet people in your classes, which is key for freshman year. Definitely wouldn't have been able to get through freshman year without making the friends that I did, forming these study groups and just having help when I need, because no one should have to go through the first year program alone. But in Forbes Hall, you have resident assistants, as you do in all freshman residence halls, and these resident assistants put on programs for you. So within Forbes Hall, you'll do a lot of programs geared towards like how to manage stress as an engineer, and just team building activities, because in engineering you have a lot of teamwork all the time in your classes, a lot of group work. So these programs are geared towards like helping you succeed in the first year program. Yeah.
Awesome. And now, of course, we're going to hear a little bit about the Business LLC from Sarah.
So I did not personally live in Bruce Hall, but as Shira said, with her in Forbes Hall, I had a ton of friends that did live in Bruce Hall. Those who did absolutely loved it. It's a really great space to be in just because you're surrounded by business students. So you always have someone to walk to class with. If you have a homework assignment, you're always going to find someone in your classes. So it was very collaborative in the sense that you can really do your like practice and study for business school classes with other people, which is an advantage because everyone's in the same classes as you, just starting out. Bruce Hall also hosts different events for the business students that live there. So at the beginning, they have the Bruce Hall Bash where they bring in different recruiters, just a way for everyone to meet each other. They also do different special site visits for those interested in Bruce Hall to do to different companies in the Pittsburgh area, which is really great, especially as a first year student, to start out getting immersed in the business world, especially in Pittsburgh, because it is prominent there. And they also host a Shark Tank competition for the students who live there. So being in Bruce Hall, there's a lot of advantages to it just because you're going to be with people who have the same interests as you.
Awesome. So I know we have had quite a few people join us since we started. So of course we want to make sure that everyone knows who they are listening to. So we're going to go ahead and reintroduce everyone. Once again, my name is Nick. I'm an associate director in the Office of Admissions and Financial Aid. Excited to be moderating our student panel today. And now we're going to get to meet our three students, and we're going to go right back to Sarah and hear a little bit more about her.
Hi everyone who's still here. Hi everyone who is new. Welcome. My name is Sarah. I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Pittsburgh from outside Boston. I'm a finance major, earning a certificate in international business, a certificate in leadership and ethics, and I'm also minoring in German. Besides being involved in Pitt Pathfinders, which is the tour guide organization on campus, I'm also a part of a social sorority called Alpha Delta Pi, and I'm a member of an entrepreneurship club called Enactus.
Hi everyone, my name is Shira. I'm a junior civil engineer here at Pitt. I'm originally from Bethesda, Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. Some other organizations that I'm a part of here. I am in Society of Women Engineers. I am in American Society of Civil Engineers, and I'm involved in an engineering social sorority called Phi Sigma Rho. I'm also a co-op student. So I work for a general contractor in Washington, D.C. and alternate my time between working full-time and being a student full-time at Pitt. And I've also did a short-term study abroad program in Jamaica focused on engineering sustainability on island nations.
Hey everyone. So my name is Lindsay. I am a senior studying politics and philosophy with minor in economics and studio arts and a global certificate. I'm originally from the Philly area, so like right outside. In addition to Pathfinders, I'm also in a professional fraternity called Phi Sigma Pi and Judo Club. And I've also gotten the chance to study abroad and do an internship abroad as well.
All right, great. Now that you know who is guiding our sessions today, we're of course back to answering all of your questions. As I mentioned in the beginning, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the YouTube chat. Also, you can text us through visit days and we are happy to answer all of those questions for you today. We got a great one that was all about class sizes. What's it like within your general education requirements? What's it like in more of your core major specific classes? And we're going to hear now from Shira about what that looks like.
So for class sizes, typically freshman year, your classes are going to be a little bit bigger because you're taking all these intro level courses. And that's pretty standard across different schools at Pitt. So with engineering in particular, I said before that all freshman students are basically taking the same classes in calculus, chemistry, and physics. So these classes are going to be typically bigger. My classes were around 80 to 100 people freshman year. But as I've moved into more civil engineering specific classes, my classes sizes has gotten like significantly smaller. So most of my classes now are about 30 students. So it's sort of like a high school style class, which is nice. But also freshman year, like thinking back to these larger class sizes, a lot of freshmen may like be concerned at first with coming into large class sizes, different from high school. But it really wasn't too bad. And you can take the initiative to like sit closer to the front. Your professors are like there to help you, and all the professors are required to hold office hours. So that's another good opportunity to just have one-on-one time with your professors. They want to help you succeed in the class and answer your questions. Additionally, with your larger lecture sizes, you get broken down into what's called a recitation section. So that's comparable to like a high school style class. So you'll have like 25 to 30 students from your main lecture in this recitation section, and it's taught by a teaching assistant or a TA. And during this time, you don't learn any new information. It's solely just for review, going over what you've already learned, working with your peers. Sometimes you'll be given a quiz during this time, but most importantly, it's a really good opportunity to get your questions answered and just work with each other. Yeah.
Great, and thank you, Shira. So we got a couple questions about research and just talking generally about how common it is, are all students involved in it? And really that boils down to what the student is interested in. We are an enormous research university at Pitt, which means that research is available all across the academic spectrum. Really, no matter what you are interested in, there will be research that's available to you and lots of different resources, again, to get you connected with it. So we have the Office of Undergraduate Research, which, as the name suggests, is entirely dedicated to helping our undergraduates find different research opportunities. We also offer our First Experience in Research program, which allows our first-year students to get set up with a research project in a field of their choice. And this takes place during the second semester that they are on campus. They get to be a part of a research project, really immerse themselves in that, and they also get to present at one of our research fairs at the end of that year. It's just a really nice way to kind of jumpstart the research experience, and it can definitely serve as sort of a springboard to get more involved in research later on. Now, some of the more specific questions we've gotten have been about co-oping and a little bit more about that through the engineering experience. And we're going to go back to Shira and hear a little bit more about that.
So co-op is a really great experience that I've been able to take a part of here at Pitt. So what a co-op is, it's a work school rotation. So I alternate semesters between working full-time and then being a student full-time. So last semester in the fall was my first rotation on co-op. So I worked for a general contractor in Washington, D.C. And I got the opportunity to work on a bunch of cool projects. My company actually does a lot of government buildings, a lot of the museums that are in DC. So I got to work on some high profile projects and just have a different experience like out of the classroom, which was really, really cool. So co-op, what a co-op is, again, I alternate between semesters, so I'm not working and doing school at the same time. Although when you are on co-op, you have the option of taking one class with your co-op, like a night class. Whether that's like an online course and getting an elective satisfied, or taking an engineering course that's like offered at night if your co-op is around the Pittsburgh area. And co-op is pretty common at Pitt. I would say about 50% of students take advantage of this. And with the co-op program, it's not a requirement like some schools have. It's completely optional, but strongly encouraged. And since co-op is pretty common at Pitt, each department has like their own pre-made co-op schedule. So that's helped me be able to like graduate within like my 8 semesters. And they like tell you which courses are offered over the summer in particular. So it helps you get all the classes in that you need to. So it's pretty accommodating if you want to co-op. And overall, it's been a really good experience just to have real work experience integrated with your academics. And I'd personally recommend it if you do have this opportunity. And Pitt has a bunch of co-op fairs during the year to connect students with companies that are looking for students to come on board. And with co-op, it's typically 3 rotations with the same company. So you do gain a lot of great experience. You build relationships with this company. And in the long run, it can even lead to a full-time job.
Great. Thank you so much, Shira. And of course, as students that might be interested in the business world, a huge part of your education can be through internships. And we're going to hear a little bit from Sarah now about what that can look like.
So on average, Pitt Business students typically have 1 to 2 internships. Pitt Business has a really strong career center. They've been so helpful in helping me find an internship for the summer. So this summer, I'm going to be doing an internship for a beer magazine called Hop Culture, and it's actually through one of the internship programs that Pitt Business offers. They have a program called the TAFL Scholarship where you can apply for different companies and they'll give the companies grant money for you to have a paid internship, which is really great. And I would say that, as I said before, most Pitt Business students do end up having internships. There are a lot of small businesses in Pittsburgh, a lot of big businesses that there are opportunities to do so. They also hold an annual career fair every year at the David Lawrence Convention Center. And there you can go like network with other people, talk to recruiters, and be able to get those internships. So definitely Pitt Business hones in a lot on internships and being able to have access to them and to find them, which is something I really appreciate and part of the reason I chose Pitt.
All right, thank you, Sarah. And of course, we just explained co-ops and internships and maybe a little bit of confusion about how they are different. And we're just going to clear that up real quick with hearing from Shira again.
So as I said before, a co-op is a work-study rotation, and it's 3 rotations, typically with the same company. But with an internship, that's typically just summer jobs, and you have the option of working with the same company between different summers, or you have the option to switch it up and work for many different companies. So an internship typically is like 2 to 3 months over the summer. So with a co-op, you can have, it's like 3 rotations. So you get to build more on the experience you learned from your previous rotation, which is the benefit to co-op. And internships, either you just have like that 1 summer with that company to get a taste of what they do. And it's a good option if you aren't really sure yet what direction you want to go in and you want to work for multiple companies and get a good feel of what you can do with different jobs. That's primarily what the difference is. A co-op, you keep going back to the same company, and an internship, you can stay at the same company or you can work for different companies. And again, that's typically just over the summer.
Great, thank you, Shira. So we got a great question about academic certificates and a little bit more about what they are like, how are they different from a major and a minor? You may have heard them mentioned a few times, or you may have seen it on our website. And we're going to hear a little bit from Lindsay about her own experience with a certificate and why a student might want to pursue one.
Yeah, so I actually have all 3. So I have a major, a minor, and a certificate. So kind of the difference is like the intensity or like the like how specific you get like in the major that you're looking at doing. So the major, obviously, that's the one that's going to go towards like your degree. the minor and the certificate are usually what people kind of get confused between. A minor is less classes and less like intensive within what you're looking at. So the certificate is usually going to be a little bit more particular. You're going to have to take a few more classes, maybe do like a portfolio, which kind of just encompasses everything that you do, while like a minor is more of you're just taking the classes to fulfill like the minor requirements. So I'm taking a global certificate. So my classes, I have specific core classes that I have to take in addition to some like external classes, which I can have like a little bit more leeway with. And then I have to do a digital portfolio with that. And so that kind of just signifies that I do have this specific interest in it and that I have like training within that like field. So global studies, I have like cultural knowledges of like other places and like functionings in that way. And that's what makes it a little bit different. So it's not as, I kind of think of it as like a ladder of like the major is like your like biggest thing, and then it goes to your certificate, and then it goes to your minor. To kind of think of like how in terms of like how much work you're going to have with classes and how many classes you have to take and the kind of things that you're going to be doing.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. And we got some questions related just to academic support, tutoring that we have on campus. What are the different things that are available for our students to make sure that they are staying on track with all of their classes? And we're going to hear a little bit now from Sarah about those resources.
Pitt definitely does offer the help that you need if you have across different classes. So for example, they have the Math Assistance Center, the Writing Center, the Statistics Lab, and there are peer tutoring for different subjects like biology, chemistry, etc. And this is just a great way to go for extra help if you need it. I've used all of them before, just to get that extra help and to have that one-on-one time. Besides that, your professors also hold office hours. So if you ever need any help, you can go to those. And those are definitely something great to utilize because one, you'll get the help you need, and two, you can also be able to create a bond with that professor. Also, as a business student, they have a class called Biz 10, and as an incoming first year student, you'll take that class. And it's just a good way to get acclimated to the business school. You'll learn some study tips, learn a little bit about the different majors, and get any extra help you may need, which is something really great to have, especially coming in that first semester.
All right, great. And we got a question asking about when does Pitt let out for the summer? I'll just address that super quick. So Pitt typically ends its spring semester just at the end of April. So that means students do get about 4 months for their summer. Typically classes begin right there at the end of August. So a 4-month summer is fantastic for a lot of different reasons. There are opportunities to do study abroads over the summer. We have condensed classes that you can take throughout the summer, really all different ways to get great experiences. Obviously with internships and co-ops that you've heard talked about a lot, those are really great things to do during that lengthy summer that all of our students get to take advantage of. We did get a few questions about our honors college, and we'll have Lindsay talk a little bit more about that as far as what's available through it, and then what are some of the ways that students utilize the honors program on campus.
Yeah, so my major is actually through the honors college. So politics and philosophy is an honors major. So that's one of the ways that you can kind of look into. They're like a little bit more intensive, but they do have a Bachelors of Philosophy program. So if you're interested in completing like a master level thesis in your undergraduate career, they do that across a lot of different curriculum. So it's not just like one specific like science based or like one specific like social science. So you can definitely like look into that and talk about it with some of the advisors. I love the advisors in the Honors College. They're some of my favorite people. I went to them because I was interested in this one scholarship, and they introduced me to a bunch of different programs that I'd never even heard of, that they were like, oh, this is kind of the exact same thing that if you're interested in, you should check it out. So it was really nice just because I had like so much support, and they told me that even if I was like graduated, I could come back and talk to them. So the Honors College just provides a lot of like support for like finding internships, finding scholarships, for different things that you want to do. They're very well connected. They have a community outreach program as well. So you can kind of talk to them if you'd like to get like more involved in like community service and stuff along those lines. They also just have activities in general. So they'll put on like movie nights where it's like a movie and a discussion as well. But I think in general, the Honors College is pretty accessible. If over like 2 semesters you have a 3.25 GPA, you're welcome to apply in. They have classes that you can take. So if you're already in the Honors College, you can just go straight into the classes and register. If you're not, you can still take those classes. You just have to have the 3.25 GPA to take them. So it's definitely really nice to get the flexibility, and it gives you a lot of different access to things that you might not think about. They also have like a study away program, which one of my friends did in Wyoming, and got a chance to do a lot of research stuff that she wouldn't have before. So definitely something to consider.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. And we are just about done with our session today, but we do have one last question to ask all of our students today, and that's just going to be, what has been your absolute favorite experience or favorite day that you have had on campus? And we're going to go ahead and start with Sarah.
I think my favorite student, it's hard to pick just one, so I want to say that. So I'm getting a certificate in leadership and ethics, and it's definitely like my favorite thing that I really do on campus, because we do a lot of experiential based learning projects. And so last semester we did a project for the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation where we had to come up with different ways to target millennials to donate their time, which is just an amazing experience to work with the foundation. And because we did work for them, they actually gave us hockey tickets to go to a Penguins game. So I got to go to a Penguins game for free with all these people in my certificate program that I just met. And it was a great way to connect with the foundation and just meet new people. It was definitely a highlight of my year.
I think one of my favorite experiences through all the organizations that I'm a part of is every time me and the organization have like gone on little trips like out of campus. So with the clubs that I'm in, with my sorority, we've gone ice skating before downtown in Schenley Park. With Society of Women Engineers, we visited a local old orchard for our fall event. And even through like the Swanson School of Engineering, we went to a free Pirates game at the very beginning of freshman year, which was a lot of fun. And I've just really enjoyed utilizing the city, and even like having my organizations utilize the city too, because there's so much to do here, and so many things that Pitt students can do for free, just for being Pitt students, because we just need to show our IDs, and we can get into a lot of the museums for free, get on the buses for free. So it's really easy for organizations to have events that are off campus and just be able to explore around Pittsburgh more. And also something I really enjoy is playing intramural sports. So I'm not a sporty person at all, but intramurals is just a great way of having fun with friends, trying something new. I've been on an intramural volleyball team, softball team, and a soccer team, and all with the same group of people. And I'm proud to announce that out of all of these games, we've won approximately 0 games. But we're out here having a great time. And that's just definitely something I've absolutely loved doing at Pitt too.
Yeah, so in terms of my favorite experience as a Pitt student, I think it definitely kind of combines a lot of different aspects. So one of my classes that I took was an architecture class, and it was approaches to the built environment. And my professor really wanted us to like know how to use resources that Pitt is allowing us. So one of our projects was actually to go to a museum together as like our group, and then kind of research what is shelter. And so then we had to make like an interpretive like what is shelter kind of thing. And so ours was like really weird about like reflecting light and how like shelter has like interpreted light over the years. And so it was fun because we got to do a hands-on project, and one of our things was we could only use the sources that Pitt like had around it. So we went to what's called the Center for Creativity, which is probably one of my favorite places. And it's basically just this huge room dedicated for students to express their like creative side. So we got to go there and start like building our project. And then we brought it into Frick Fine Arts, which is the building with like studio arts, as well as like architecture. And we created this sculpture within the like kind of like near the courtyard. And it was just really fun kind of way to get more hands-on versus just kind of like studying the whole time. And so I think that was one of my best experiences, which had to do with like class, but then also using a bunch of stuff that's around Pitt and within like Pitt as well. So I got to like learn a lot about like different places that I'd not really thought about in like the way that my teacher allowed me to. So
All right. Well, a huge thank you to all of our students for being with us today, and of course to all of you for joining us for our virtual session all about student life. We hope that we answered all of your questions today. Of course, we are going to be here if you have any additional ones. Please feel free to contact our office at any point. You can give us a call, you can email us, you can live chat us through our website. You've seen you can already contact our office through visit days and text messaging your questions. Of course, we have more virtual events happening the rest of today and of course throughout the week and next week. So please make sure you are checking on our website to see all the great events that we have coming up. Thank you all so much for being with us today, and hail to Pitt.